We're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Darian Talks UTSA. Um, Lots to talk about. UTSA football is almost back around the corner, as you could probably see from the thumbnail. That we're only 3 weeks away, folks. 3 weeks away, and we are back in that Alamo Dome, getting it popping. I am looking at the chat, and Oscar the Grouch beat Mike today. So Mike got beat out today on leaving the first comment. But anyway, lots to get to today. Obviously, we want to talk about some of the storylines that are coming out of camp. UTSA football was in pads for the first time today, in full pads for the first time today. So there's some sound bites and things coming out of that. Make sure you guys fill up that comment box. We're going to roll into it pretty early here. I actually have a flag football game later today, so I'm going to have a hard stop at the hour mark today. But we're going to go ahead and get started. So Oscar the Grouch says Texas State sucks. They do, absolutely. But as I said in the description, if you guys checked out the description today, everybody has been talking about Texas State, and I don't want to forget that we do have a Kennesaw State game that is first. And although we should beat Kennesaw State, they should not be a team that gives us a lot of problems, considering their situation from last season. You just never know. And with us coming in with a new quarterback, you just always want to give the respect to whatever opponents we have. So yes, Kennesaw State is what I want to look at and I want to talk about today. Mike says, looking at Kennesaw State, they seem like a run-heavy team. I feel like our defense will eat all day. Yes, they have not had really good quarterback play. They have had some good stuff from their running backs position. If you go back to some of the game footage that they had from last year, they run the ball. They run the ball with more than one player also, right? You look at their game against who did they play at the end of the year, which they played another very, very bad team. But they threw the ball 12 times in that game. The game before that, which was another very bad team, which is Sam Houston. They lost to Sam Houston, by the way. But if you look at that game, they threw the ball 14 times, and they had two guys over 100 yards rushing. And I'm not going to go too deep into their games last season. I'm sure they're going to come out and try to have a new identity this year. But they run the football, as you said, and that's how they make whatever money they make. They run the football. So yes, I do think our defense will listen. One thing about UTSA, we typically punch on teams that we should beat. Sometimes we do play down to our level or to their level at times, but for the most part, when there's a team that we are huge favorites over, we typically come out and establish dominance and really strut our stuff. So I expect that against Kennesaw State, but obviously, as we all know, we're ushering in a new quarterback, so we could have a slower start offensively than what we're typically used to. But I do agree that our defense should, with the guys on that front seven that's coming back, we should have our way with this team 100%. Mike says, do you think that the off-field issues this summer have hurt or taken some of the shine off of Coach Traylor? Winning does cure a lot of things for sure, though. So I wanted to talk about that. 100%. I was going to put some members-only content on about it, but I made a video, and for whatever reason, my computer was upset at me, and it did not allow me to post it. And I didn't realize it had posted until really yesterday. It was supposed to come out over the weekend. I realized yesterday when I went and checked on the stats that it never came out. So you're going to hear my thoughts about the off the field stuff now with our latest situation. But listen, the off the field issues, they won't. I don't think that would undo any of the shine that Coach Traylor has. I think Coach Traylor, what he has done at UTSA speaks for itself in terms of the results that we've been able to get from a season standpoint. But I don't think that any of the shine, any of the mishaps, like teams like UTSA and in UTSA's position, which we're in the position where we are a attractive place for someone that's been at a big Power 5 school and things didn't work out. We're an attractive place to go because you're going to get good coaching, you're going to still play you're going to play high level football, and you're going to continue to have chances to play on the next level, so on and so forth, right? And you're going to be in a environment that has a rich culture right now. I think the culture that Coach Traylor has set has been great, but so I don't think his shine will hurt. But what I will say is we're going to take chances on these type of guys, and we don't listen. What worries me is we've already had enough off the field arrest and guys going to jail and guys getting kicked off. We've had enough of that. We don't want to turn into the school that breeds nothing but that, because the negative there's a negative sort of perception that comes with that, and then it's going to make some guys not want to come to UTSA. So I think there's a balance that we got to fill out with that. We've had guys that's come in and put in really good work from UTSA that have had trouble past before, and we're going to have guys that's going to shine on the field that's going to do that, that's had trouble past before as well. But as long as we have more people who are succeeding that are coming from backgrounds or coming from mistakes that they've made in the past, as long as we have more guys that are succeeding, I think we'll be fine. And you're right, winning does cure. Eric says, haven't kept up with camp too much, but have not heard any of separation from Owen and ELM. When should we start worrying about that position still being up for grabs? I think it's interesting that the coach is been steadfast on saying that it is up for grabs 100%. I think that him not coming out and announcing somebody already kind of shows you where his mind's at. He doesn't feel comfortable doing that at this particular point in time. I think a lot of it has to do with he probably wants whoever his starter is, which is probably McCown. He probably wants him to feel a little bit of pressure. He probably wants, Eddie Lee Marburger or whoever the number 2 guy is to be confident, because as I said before, neither of these guys have shown us enough yet for us to hitch the wagon to them and leave everything else out in the dust. We don't have that level of certainty with the guys we have currently. That's not to say that they won't end up getting that, but currently, based on the information that we have now and based on what we've seen from those guys now, we do not yet have that. And until we get that, he's probably not going to be too committal to either one of them, because, as I said before, if that's Owen McCown and he comes out and he slips out of the gates in the first couple of games, they're going to try quarterback number 2. Like, that's not off the table. To me, that's what it's saying. He might be settled on Owen McCown. He might be settled on him already. What this tells me, though, is if McCown doesn't play well early into the season, he's not going to hesitate to put in Eddie Lee Marburger. That's what it shows to me. So I don't know if we should be, just to go back to this really quick, I don't know if it's something we should worry about, but we should also fixate our minds to understand what's actually happening, why he's taking the position he's taking. Let's see. Kermit says, excited that Frost Bank has their logo in all of the UTSA football media. UTSA football media as of recently. Hopefully that can turn into a bigger partnership. Yeah, man, I hope so too. I think, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the NIL stuff and that situation in general. I think here's a couple things. I tweeted something over what was this, a couple days ago, and I was mostly talking about if you look at USC, there was a situation with USC that's come up, and it's a good situation. It's a positive situation for them. And basically what's happening is their NIL collectives, they're consolidating into, I think they have like 2 now, but they had a few of them and they're all consolidating at this particular point in time. And what I thought was very interesting from that is, and I know you're talking about sort of a UTSA's partnership with an external third party who is, going to be some sort of a sponsor. And I know this type of partnership that I'm talking about is slightly different, but follow me here. So whenever I look at that situation, I thought the thing that was most apparent to me was that they are very, very transparent about their sponsorships, the money they're bringing in, what they're doing for them, not necessarily which player is getting what, but like what they're doing with the money. They make these external facing communications on, everything that they're doing. And to me, one of the biggest driver in that, if you read that article, is the athletic director that they just hired. The athletic director and their head coach over there, Lincoln Riley, is in partnership going around and basically marketing together for NIL, for partnerships, for to get more money coming into the school to not only help football but just help everybody else, because she was also partnering with the head basketball coach over there as well. It's a really interesting article if you guys want to read it. I say all of that to say, where's that at UTSA? Where's that at UTSA? I'm going to continue to call that out because I think it's important, because in my opinion, it is going to be important for us to continue to evolve in this space, because our other folks in the conference are doing it. I just read the other day, North Texas hires their high school AD to be their GM and NIL director. I'm just seeing, and I'm not saying we're not doing some of that stuff as well, but there are schools that are around us, and I understand the whole bit about they've been around longer, so on and so forth. I get that, but at the end of the day, those are just excuses. We have to compete with those people, right? We have to compete with those people. Nobody's going to feel sorry for you whenever we're hanging up L's every week. We have to compete we have to keep up with the competition to maintain and sustain this level and the status that we are right now. That's just a fact. If we want to continue to make bowl games, win bowl games, we want to continue to win, put banners up and win conference championships and be in a running for conference championships year in and year out. If we want to actually be someone and a team that can be competitive to try to push for a college football playoff, we are going to have to compete off the field on this stuff as well. And I think that, as we get closer and closer to the season, there's just more and more football news coming out, and you can't have football right now and not NIL. They're synonymous. They run in parallel at this particular point in time. You start off thinking you're reading a football article about one of these big schools, and it turns into an NIL thing, because this is the game now. NIL now is just as, you might as well say that NIL and recruiting, that the news is the exact same at this particular point in time, because if you don't have the money to pay recruits, you can't get the recruits. So it's all about the money you have. And I can tell you this, us being late to the party with every single thing is not a good look. I know that there are people who are inside of the offices there who are very aware of some of this and are upset a little bit about some of the things that we're doing. And, hopefully that stuff gets resolved, but it is a problem that many folks have reached out to me over the last couple of weeks, over the last couple of days, stressing the importance of this and stressing the fact that we aren't doing enough. So anyway, I'm going to use my platform, the small platform that I have. But I'm going to use my platform to talk about that. And because I think those are things that we should talk about. And I think it's up to us as supporters of the program to call these things out, because we want to see UTSA succeed and put some pressure on some of those folks who are the decision makers. All right. Kermit says, also like that per the football videos on Twitter, all of our big transfers like Denver Harris and Johnny Bowen seem to be buying in and healthy. I just knocked on wood, and I just did too. Yes. And listen, I like what I'm hearing from hearing about both of those guys. I've gotten a little bit of insight on what they're looking like in the camps and things like that. I'm excited for what they're going to be able to bring to the table. And, I think that we are lucky to be in a position where we're able to get talent in like that. We're lucky. And I think a lot of that has to do with what we've done. Now, the key is, how do we continue to get talent like that? And it goes back to what I just talked about whenever we talk about NIL and all that. The only way we continue to get talent like a Denver Harris or a Johnny Bowens, guys who are 4 and 5-star recruits and things like that. In order for us to get that type of talent coming from the bigger schools and things like that, is we have to continue to make ourselves attractive. We have to continue to make sure that we're winning and we're constantly up there in the running to win conference championships. We're constantly doing the marketing things and producing on every level. It's one of those things. I like to relate a lot of things to the college football game. If you're doing any recruiting on there, you click a recruit when you're trying to get them to come to your school, and there's a list of like 20, 25 things there that you have to be on. You want your prestige to be A+ on all of those, right? And I think for UTSA, we just got to keep working at it. We got to keep working at it, but we got to keep bringing guys like that in. Rob Ochoa says, I wonder how Za and the New Mexico corners have been doing. Any new updates on the secondary? What's the go-to tailgate dish? Great question on the last one. I haven't heard a lot about the corners yet. I am trying to make it. So someone asked me last week, was I going to the UTSA scrimmage? I want to go, but they give us a notice. They sent the thing out like yesterday saying that it's going to be this weekend. And I'm like, guys, can we at least get like a week in advance to know? So I'm trying to move some things in my schedule so I can get down there to get it to put eyes on these guys myself. So we'll see. If not, I may see if somebody can go and do some reporting for me. If they could, that would be super helpful. But I'm going to try to get down there myself this weekend to see if I can catch some of this. But yeah, I haven't heard a ton about the corners. All I've heard is they are looking good. They are making the receivers better, and that there are high expectations for that group. So I'm hoping that those aren't great updates, but that's literally all I've heard. I'm sure you can probably get that from like a JJ tweet or something like that as well. So it's not anything too in the weeds, but it is what it is. But what's the go-to tailgate dish? Man, that's a great question. I would say, what do I like? I mean, most of the time at the tailgates, oh man, I'm not gonna lie, dude. If I can get some wings or barbecue. Wings or barbecue for me at the tailgate. Whoever has them, I'm all for it. I am all for it. Another thing too, while I have everybody here, just make sure you smash a like on the video so more people can join the community and join the talks, the discussions, and things like that. Also, members, if you want to join as a member, you are welcome to do so as well. The link is in the description. And then also, if you would like to get a priority question through or a topic that you want to talk about and you're passionate about, make sure you leave a super chat. It helps the channel, it helps me, and it gets you priority on the show here. Let's go with ATX. ATX says, I talk smack to Kennesaw State fans, but I haven't found any on Twitter. They're a quiet bunch, aren't they? They don't have a lot to talk about right now. I've noticed that they don't have a lot to talk about right now. Yeah. Don't know if you heard, but UT's starting running back CJ Baxter. Yeah, I seen that. I think it was PCL and LCL or something like that. Yeah, it's unfortunate, man. I hate it for them. Because you never want to see guys get hurt. You don't want to see that type of thing. But yeah, it's really unfortunate for them. But that group will be fine because they have a ton of good talent over there, and we'll see. I'll just say this: I hope their good talent doesn't perform well week 3. I don't want them to play well against us, but yeah, it's tough news for that guy. That guy has a lot of upside, and it's unfortunate for him. Rocking to the moon says Kavorian Barnes mentioned that he gained weight last year because of surgery. As of now, he's 10 to 15 pounds lighter. Bro's going to be fast. Yeah, so I almost feel bad that I haven't been I don't know, advocate's not the right word for that. But yeah, it's something I noticed. I talked about it all last year. I've talked about it in the offseason. He was heavy last year. He was there's no way around it. He was heavy last year. But I have seen him. I'm glad that he's lighter. I hate that he, that was the situation. I know that had to be tough on his body, and I know for him that had to be a little difficult because he's probably someone that's used to operating with a skill set. Um, and anytime that you have a weight issue or injury issue and it compromises your skill set, it does not allow you to play the game the way that you know how to play and the way that you want to play. And it does not, you not, it's just like trying to go fix a car. If you don't have all the tools that you need to fix that car, then you're screwed, right? And that's sort of the situation with him. So I'm glad that he is healthy. He's lost weight, and he's probably going to be a lot more leaner, and he's probably going to have a lot more of that wiggle and that speed back. Because I thought that, and I've said this before, I thought that his breakaway speed and some of his elusivity in open space was compromised last year due to the weight. And I thought that he put the weight on to be able to absorb more of the blows because he was going to be getting a lot more touches. But it was due to surgery. That's unfortunate. That sucks. And I hope that he recovers well and that him being 10 to 15 pounds lighter is going to aid his play this season, because we're going to need a big year from him, Rocco, and we're going to need a big year from Robert Henry. Those three guys are going to have to be they're going to have to be the foundation of our offense, the foundation of our team, because especially early on, considering that we're going to have new quarterbacks to start the year. So, yeah, I hope that and I'm sure he understands that. I'm sure he knows that. And I'm sure that's why he got his body in shape. ATS says, correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard Kennesaw State plays a triple option. I believe they do as well, but I haven't watched a ton of film on them yet, so I couldn't tell you. I typically start film study about probably a week or two before. I haven't watched much of them yet. Gabriel says, who do you think will take Martavius French's place? It could be anybody, man. We have so much talent at that position. I mean, linebacker position. Who do we got? The new guys. You got Brevin Randalls. You got Ian Jacksons. You got Blackshire. There's so many guys that you can pick from at that linebacker position, man, that it can be anybody. I don't know exactly who it'll be. I haven't heard. Nobody talks a ton about the linebackers and who's like standing out there. So I'm sure as we get closer and closer to the to game one, that we'll start to hear more about who's going to be that guy who's stepping up to sort of take that position. But we do these things by committee. I think we're so deep in the front seven that, like, I'm not saying we can afford to lose anybody, because the more depth you have, the better you are, and the more it's gonna up level the competition, or it's gonna up level your play against the competition, because you have to compete to get on the field. But yeah, I'm sure we'll have multiple guys that'll be able to come in and do a job. Who's your starting five on the O-line be? Also, Kendrick Blackshire linebacker is a beast. My starting five on the O-line. That's a great question. I haven't watched the O-line ones is tricky, man. I haven't spent a whole bunch of time examining offensive linemen, if I have one weakness, it is my film on the offensive linemen. So I don't know. It's probably going to be the guys. It's going to be interesting. It's probably going to be some of the guys that we've seen. I don't know. I'll get back to you on that one, because I don't want to just spit out names that are too obvious. I'll get back to you on that one for sure. Kevin Lee says, do you think Will Tomahawk Henderson runs with the Rock first game? Can't wait to see him get turned loose. Honestly, I'll say this, and I was talking to Aeneas about this, former UTSA cornerback, one of my best friends. I was talking to him about this situation, about Will Henderson in the first place, Tomahawk Henderson. That's going to be catchy. If he breaks out, do you imagine, like, we got a guy named Tomahawk who's like a star, like offensive player for us? You know how crazy that'd be? Think about the NIL deals he'll get. Anyway, but when you look at that dude's speed, I don't think he'll be in the running back rotation this early, because that spot is so competitive and we got such big. We already got three big, three-headed monster at that position. So I don't know how much we'll see him there. But you got to put that dude on like a punt return, or you got to find a way to get him the ball in space. I don't care if he's a freshman or I don't care. If we got a guy that fast, use him. There's ways to use him. Use him. You ain't gotta be super complicated. You can't teach speed. When you got a guy that fast, I hope that we get to see him do something. I know that's a tall order because he's young, and that whole bit. But at the same time, it's like, bro, you got a guy that can roll like that. You got to get him on the field. I don't care if it's a jet sweep. I don't care if it's a quick screen pass or a bubble or something like that. You get that guy a seam. You do everything you can to get that guy a seam. And you know what? You ain't even got to give him a ton of opportunities. Give him, as a freshman, give him 5 touches a game or something to start him out with. If the blocking is right on one of them, he going to the house. So yeah, anyway, I hope to see him. I don't know if he'll get the rock at a running back, but I hope to see him touch the football. Thomas Patton says, information on linebackers. I'm interested in how the newcomers are setting in with the veterans. Like I said, I haven't got anything particular. I've heard Brevin Randall's name pop up quite a bit. I've heard Coach Traylor's talked about him. I've heard Blackshear's name come up quite a bit. Ian Jackson's come up as well. We got a lot of good transfers that's come in that position. So I'm expecting one of those guys are going to be one of the ones that's going to step up. Oscar says, I appreciate your work, man. I'll be looking forward to seeing it this season. I appreciate you for being here, Oscar. Really do. Shout out to UTSA Headline. Ian Brown says, do you think there will be a massive scheme change on offense with Frank gone? I don't think it'll be massive. I don't think the scheme itself will change much. Let me take a drink real quick. Nothing like ice cold water. Anyway, I don't think the scheme itself will change much. What I do think is we'll see. It's kind of what Coach Traylor had already said, right? He talked about the playbook's not going to change much. You're just going to see different plays being called more, and some of them that we called a lot before being called less, because he's going to curate that offense to cater more to Owen's strengths or Eddie Lee Marburger's strengths. So you'll just see a difference in play calls. I think for the most part, Coach Traylor's offense and what he wants to get accomplished, we're going to see them take shots downfield. That's something that we do. We're going to see a lot of screen pass RPO stuff. We are very notorious for doing that. We're going to see crossing routes down the field because he's going to want to get some of those guys with vertical speed into situations where they can utilize that speed and hit home runs. We're going to see some stuff that's different, but the scheme is going to stay the same. Shout out to Gabriel Perez. Because we got a big super chat. Thank you so much, man. $20. Big super chat, man. Shout out to you, Gabriel Perez. Super chats, like I said before, they get priority, so we go directly to them. Gabriel says, hey, bro, I'm the head drum major for the UTSA or for the marching band at UTSA. And just wanted to say, keep it up with the great content. It's also my birthday, and this stream was a great gift to have it on. Hey, everybody shout out and put some, I'm going to put some emojis in here as well. I can't do emojis from this thing. I'm going to just say happy birthday. Everybody wish my man Gabriel a super big happy birthday. I should be the one giving you $20, not you leaving a $20 what's the name for your birthday. Shout out to Gabriel, man. Thanks for the comment. And yeah, man, we're going to keep rocking and rolling this season. 100%. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for being here. Glad that we can tell you, man, this community is great. It's great. It's small, but it's great. We're going to keep growing though. Let's see. JC, shout out to my man Joshua here. He says, evening, Darren in the room. Are we going to talk about tanks deployed to defend the dome? Drone flyovers, Alan the Cyber Bear, along with the RowdyRunner appearances. Dude, I'm gonna be honest with you. The tanks defending the dome is sick. It is sick. It is sick. You want to talk about something that I think would be a cool thing to do, considering San Antonio being a military city, and how some of the military guys and stuff are involved with some of our games. That would be sick. Drawn flower, all of that would be sick. Um, Shout out to Joshua for that one. That one's that's pretty cool. The tanks at the dome. I'm willing to sign a petition, start a campaign, whatever you call it. That would be sick. Defend the dome with tanks. You want to talk about something that would intimidate some folks? That'll be sick. Scotty B says, I feel like I hear Brevin Randall's name brought up in every post practice interview. Seems like he's the real deal. Could be a big contributor this year. Yeah, he had already proved before that he's a formidable player. Obviously, had some issues in prior places, but yeah, he was a player at. He's a player who done a lot of good work at SFA, and he did some good work with Louisiana Tech. So yeah, he's someone with an experience that we already know what we kind of get. I would expect that he's going to be one that's probably going to get some game time, and it's probably going to be someone who is going to be a contributor to us, whether he starts or not. You can't teach experience, and it's something that he has. So we'll see. But yeah, I expect him to be a guy. Oscar says Randall is going to be a force. I personally want to see more of Caleb Brown on the field this season. Super competitive this off season, extremely hungry. Yeah, 100%. I want to see both guys put in the shifts, to be completely honest. I just want depth and I want options. Nothing is better at UTS in football in general is to have options. We need to have as many options as possible to put ourselves in a position to where we are, strong at some of these positions where you could have injuries. Linebacker's a position that, there could always be trouble because these guys are crashing their heads against other people, every single play. They don't get a break. They're either hitting running backs, they're having to shed blocks on linemen, and it's a grimy position, and you need depth in a position like that. You need fresh legs. You need legs to get out the quarterback. You need legs to get after everybody, right? So, yeah, we need depth at that position 100%. No Name says, I believe our D is top-tier Division I level. There's never been this quite level of depth in our brief history. I'd say in the front seven, it has not been, no. It has not been because a lot of the guys on the front seven are proven. That's one of the good parts about it. Like, we got a lot of guys who are already proven. There's not a lot of guesswork in terms of what we expect from a production standpoint from those guys. So I definitely think that we can have a top-tier defense, but we're also going to our defense just over time has always been bend but don't break. We've never had like a stout defense that was completely stingy enough to where folks didn't get anything. We've always been sort of bend but don't break, and I think that is that's important for us to maintain. I don't expect like when you think about all the spread teams that we face, those guys are going to score points. So as long as we have that in mind, I think we'll be a fine defense. I think last year we were really good in the second half on the defensive end. I want to definitely continue to be that, just because we were very, very good at making adjustments at halftime and coming out and muting whatever the opposing offense was doing. So I definitely hope that we get some carryover with that as well. Hey, there you go. Shout out to Aeneas J. RowdyRunner Hype says steak NIL for tomorrow. Right. Hey, bro, I'm telling you now, if they, I'll do the job. I mean, it's easy. We can do the job for him, bro. Like, let's pick out a steakhouse, and then his first touchdown, we just spam them on Twitter and be like, "Yo, if you ain't jumped on this dude named Tomahawk to come in and have the name of the new special steak in your steakhouse, you tripping." And I don't know what you call it because the Tomahawk steak is a Tomahawk steak, right? But like, you got to put some kind of spin on it to make it his. But yeah, 100%. Does USAA have any NIL deal with UTSA being their headquarters down the road of UTSA, or what about the Valero? I'm assuming next door. I think there's something between UTSA and Valero, but I don't know if it's football related, and I don't know about USAA. That'll be a good question for folks in the chat if they've heard anything about that. I haven't heard much. Like I said, I think at least we used to have some sort of deal with Valero, I believe, back in the day, because I feel like I remember there was some Valero stuff around campus whenever I was even going to UTSA years ago. Right now, I don't know. But here's the biggest thing: is like, who's our biggest partner right now? Like, what big? And honestly, I like to like. You guys are in San Antonio every day. I like to hear from y'all. What company is you like UTSA athletics? Like, it has aligned themselves, I guess, with UTSA athletics. What company outside of maybe the Insera Auto Group? And like, that's a purely NIL. It's pretty much an NIL relationship. Like, what big, what big companies are we like in bed with like that? I don't know. I don't know. I think we should be. I think we have stuff to offer, but I don't know. I don't know how hard it is to, get and secure some of this stuff. But yeah, just I don't know. I'd be curious. Yes, and I'm gonna put all of Gabriel's birthday shout outs on the screen. Again, happy birthday to Gabriel again. Spending some of his birthday with us. This is dope. And shout out to everybody for shouting him out too. That's what it's all about. Sosa keeps the dome rocking, 100%. They always do. I love when I'm playing college football 25, just hearing UTSA's band go off after you score a touchdown. It's crazy. Any thoughts on Mekhi Anderson? Okay, no, he has more. Any thoughts on Mekhi Anderson? High 3-star coming out of high school and was given the highest speed stat on NCAA 25. Mekhi, did he really get the highest stat? I don't know why I didn't look at this. Is he really? Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm glad to have him at UTSA. It's one of those things. We'll just see how he's used or if he's used early. We got some speed, bro. You just think about it. We got some speed. Like, have you noticed how much we've emphasized speed coming into this season? You just think about the guys that we've brought in. Like, we got speed on that offensive side of the ball, man. There's no two ways about it. We got a lot of speed. And I just hope that we are able to I think I've seen some of this guy's tape too. He's not bad. He's a player. He plays out of Florida. Yeah, we'll see. We'll have to see. Pioneer says we have 0 serious corporate partners. That's, I'm assuming you said on campus. Dude, I can tell you something right now, man. I am still a little confused at what's going on with that situation overall. I just am. It is almost football season. And like I said, I'll continue to say this, but I've seen her like retweet some stuff lately, so I'm assuming things are relatively fine. I felt like we started to hear her. She's gotten quiet all of a sudden. Have you noticed that? If you think about the way she's been engaging on Twitter, it just went silent. Football is right around the corner. It just went silent. Like, respect to all of the other programs, but football was going to bring in a lot of money. I'm going to bring in the most money from a athletic standpoint. And when you consider, corporate sponsorships, and when you consider NIL, obviously, and you consider revenue sharing, and you consider everything that's kind of around generating, revenue, money, and opportunities for payment for people, it just seems like we are always late to the dance, and we're never at the front of the line. We're always reactionary. Always reactionary. We're not on the front foot. We're not proactive. And in my opinion, that's going to put us in a really weird situation. It's going to put us in a really weird situation around who we're trying to keep at the place. Because another thing that I talked about on Twitter in terms of something that's like kind of a big deal. I tweeted something the other day, and it got a little bit of steam. But August the 3rd on 3 Sports, they tweeted current head coaches with the best winning percentages, and this is all of Division I football. You know who number 9 was on that list? Talking about head coaches, Jeff Traylor. He's on a list with, Dabo Swinney, Clemson head coach. He's on a list with Ryan Day, Ohio State, Kirby Smart, Georgia, Dan Lanning up in Oregon, Lincoln Riley up at SC right now. I look at that and say, like, that post itself got 475,000 views. I'm talking about views. Not my post, but on 3's post. You think Coach Traylor's not on folks' radar? You think he's not somebody that a lot of these big schools have on a short list to say, hey, you know what? If things go wrong, this is a guy we're calling. You think he's not at the top of some? There are some people that probably has him number 1, right? Probably have him number 1. And I bring that up to say we should be there. Like, here's the way I look at it. This isn't just me. Everybody I see on Twitter, I see in this chat, we talk about it all the time, has questions about, hey, what's going on with marketing, money, sponsors, all this stuff. Like, what's going on with it? And here's the thing, like, I think our fan base is mature enough to understand what our situation is. And if our situation right now is, hey, it's pretty difficult for a school like UTSA to go and get some of these things. Guys, we need your help. I think that sometimes when you peel the curtain back and let people know what the challenges are, you'll be, that can be something that galvanizes the troops even more and pull people in, because now people are invested personally about some of this stuff, right? But we don't get that. We get silence, confusions, questions. People are wondering what's going on. I'll just say this: people notice. Very, 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 very important people are very aware that and can see that things are not in an optimal state. Her communication to some of the people that she should be communicating with is not great, because you'll be surprised at how Traylor doesn't even know what her plans are. And that's not me peeling the curtain back on anything else. He said that specifically in a press conference when they asked him about revenue sharing and about the plans that UTSA have around that. This is what I talked about last week. He said to himself that, I don't know, but I'm sure his boss has a plan on what's going on. So it continues to be a problem. Continues to be a problem. French is awesome in CFB 25. Oh yeah, he has the highest speed stat with 96 on the whole roster. I don't know if he's beating Tomahawk in a race though. If he's that fast, geez. His film is crazy. I'm gonna watch some more of him later today, actually. RowdyRunner Hype says, wonder if Campos is working on deals with the upcoming downtown entertainment discussions code Marvel, but since NDA or sign, we can't really show. Dude, here's what I'll say to that. Considering our history and how late we've been to everything else, do you really think she's working on that? Do you really think she's going to be a part of that? Listen, I hope so. That's great for the school. It's great for UTSA. I'm for UTSA. I'm not for any individual. I'm for UTSA. And I'll just say this, I don't have confidence that she is. Because what confidence has she instilled in us that she has, that she would be being proactive? When have we shown proactiveness when it comes to this, raising money and being at the center of some of the discussions around corporate sponsorships and things like that? When have UTSA been at the forefront from in a proactive sense to some of this? We've seen a lot of reactionary, let me scramble and put some stuff together to make sure everybody knows that we did XYZ. We've seen that. We've seen a lot of reactionary actions from that camp. But when have we seen us on the front foot? We haven't. And to me, this would be us being on the front foot. So I don't have very big expectations that we're there. Kevin Lee says, props to those guys sitting out in the front of the dome at 4:30 a.m. in a long line waiting for the gates to open to set up. Props to them 100%. They make the dome fun. Bernard says, why is it so hard to find UTSA gear? Hey, by the way, let me shout out to my guys, 210 Threads. It's not hard to find UTSA gear. If you use Darian24 at 210threads.com, you get 15% off. They got a ton of UTSA stuff on there. Tell them I sent you. 210threads.com, 15% off. Darian24 is your code. Check it out. And shout out to whoever the first person who actually does that. I have not put that out as much as I should have, but my man teed me up for it on this one. So yeah, there you go. You can find your UTSA gear there. Popeye, shout out to Popeye. Member. One of the members. Let me make sure I got the members started up so I can get to you guys first. Member, we got another one too. Nice. Popeye says, I'm getting to the live late. No worries, my guy. So my apologies if you already spoke on this, but did you get a chance to see Barnes' interview from last week where he talks about his weight and the surgeries? Yes, we talked about it a little bit earlier. I give you my quick thoughts on it. I'm glad that he's healthy. It's something that I talked about before that I raised as a concern last season, and I was just hoping that like he sees that and realizes that as well. And I'm glad that he's not going to come into the season injured, because I know it was probably tough for him to come in, play, and not be able to operate the way he probably wants to operate due to his injury and him being a little heavier than what he liked to be. So hopefully he slims down, he gets that wiggle back, he gets that breakaway speed back, and he's going to be able to come in and produce. We're going to need a big year from him, Rocco, and Robert Henry. So yeah, I hope he's all good to go. My man Danny says, we definitely need to move the needle on this, but big sponsors, NIL, etc., don't do it out of the kindness of their heart. It's a business decision. We need more butts and seats, season ticket sales, etc. Absolutely. And I think, like, to me, a lot of that stuff comes into how we're allocating money, who we're deciding to pay, how we're deciding to pay them, so on and so forth. We need to make a real investment in the marketing group, period. Like, I completely understand the big business part. It's a business decision. Absolutely. But I think at the end of the day, we still have to compete with the folks in the conference. And right now, off the field, we're getting beat. We're getting our butts handed to us off the field when you talk about sponsorships, NIL, and all of that stuff. We're getting whooped. That's just what it is. So I get it. And I'm with you. Like, we do need more butts and seats. We need to sell more season tickets and all of that type of stuff. We need all of it. So a lot of this stuff is happening, and this perception that we have of what's going on is under her stewardship, and I think it's fair to call out. Okay, Scotty B says, Bernard, I got you. This is the best I found. Shout out. 210 Threads too. 210 Threads, Darian24, 15% off is your code. Pioneer said, that's my fear. Trailer is finna bounce if things don't change. We feel it. Yeah, bro, 100%. I don't want that to happen, but like, what would you expect if the man is asking for stuff and he's being left out the loop with some things? He doesn't know what's going on. He's not up to date on what some of the plans are. He's seeing things that's happening at other schools, and he's probably like, yeah, why am I not getting some of this? Why am I in the dark on some of this as well? You think, like, listen, if here's the thing, if we can see some of the stuff, just imagine what his situation is. If we can see it from where we sit, right? Like, I don't have much more information than you guys with a lot of this, you know? Like, I have a few people that I talk to around the program, but not a ton. Not a ton. But guess what? It's obvious from everybody. Everybody's coming in and we're seeing the same stuff. No matter what form that we get it from, we still get the same messages, see the same stuff for the most part. And it's an unfortunate thing. Danny comes back with another comment. He says about the UTSA merch academy is about to have a dedicated UTSA fan section along with Cowboys and Spurs. Keep an eye out for that. Shout out to Danny. Yeah, and get to Academy to get you some gear for the games. And to 210 threads. Thank you, Scotty. Yeah, I brought up the Martavius French news before. It's an unfortunate situation, honestly. Has it come out officially? Like, have they released? I know why he got suspended, but I don't know if I can share it yet. Let me see. Let me do a quick Google. See if oh man, it has not come out. That sucks. Yeah, I don't think it's come out yet. Yeah, that situation is unfortunate. Yeah, that situation is unfortunate. But yeah, I hope the best for that kid, and I hope that he gets his situation together, and I hope that he lands on his feet somewhere. I don't think that one mistake should dictate somebody's life completely. I do understand he has more than one mistake, considering some of the other stuff he was involved in before he got to UTSA, from back in his time at Tennessee. But yeah, man, you don't like to hear situations where guys are putting themselves in really, really bad situations, man. You just don't like to see it. So we talked a little bit about it earlier. I think there's a lot of guys that we're going to have because we have depth. There's a lot of guys that can come in and fill in that gap. We got a lot of talent. So I think from a football standpoint, we'll be fine. You just hope that he can fix his situation and go from there. Marcus says Campos is crazy with the hires, but terrible. Her hiring has been good. Yeah, I think that's a she has that part figured out. She can hire well. Just the fundraising from what it looks like is awful. Non-existent is what it looks like. Seriously, non-existent. It's Rap said I did some videos that popped off last year because I was sick of not seeing any marketing. Shaking my head. You know what? We should talk. We should talk. I like to here's the thing. I've sort of made a decision now. Like, if I can't, I want to help in any way I can. And if there's a lot of folks, if there's a pool of folks that want to, do some stuff where we can kind of put our stamp on some things to promote UTSA sports and get people more involved and things like that, I'm always open to that. As long as it's something that we're doing something that's meaningful and impactful and useful for folks, I'm always for that. So yeah, man, if you want to talk about, doing some other stuff like that, I just think in general, we just need better overall. I will say this: the UTSA football content is lit though. That Twitter, that whoever runs that Twitter does a really good job. I feel like, at doing their best to keep things engaged, and I like the videos that we have. Frost is I would love more detail on that Frost deal too, because I see they're on all of our stuff, on all the videos, and they're sponsoring those videos. But yeah, man, I just think that they do a good job, but that's about it. And maybe that should only be it, but that's about it, I think. We have another member question. Shout out to Angela. Angela says, I think it was on Monday's after practice press conference. Coach looked a little short with it, with the answers. Did you notice? I didn't notice it. Was he a little spicy? Was he a little? Listen, he could have not like practice. You can't. Why can't anybody DM my account? I'm a DM, I'm a DM you. I'm a DM you, dude. I'm gonna reach out to you. We'll talk. But yeah, Angela, he probably was not happy about the practice. I would say it's probably had something to do with the practice or something that somebody might have said earlier or something like that. Like sometimes coaches are like that, especially if they don't like the line of questioning they're getting or if they continue to get the same exact question over and over again. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I don't know. That's probably what it was if I had to guess. I'll go check it out again. I'm curious now. I want to see if he was if I noticed it. A lot of the times I watch the interviews and stuff, I'm doing other things, so I'm not watching the video. I'm just listening. I listen to a lot of stuff in the shower, especially the UTSA stuff. I have my phone propped up and like the audio playing. Um, so I don't like watch the stuff, so I don't get the tone and stuff as well. But I'll actually go back and watch some of that Monday stuff to see if I missed it. Let's see. Which freshman do you think we see major minutes from this season? I'll tell you this. That's a great question. Freshman, it's always tough because you never know where freshman is going to be there. That's a tough question. So transfers in general, I can think of quite a few. Freshmen, that one's a little more difficult for me because we're deep in every position. I'll just tell you this. I would like to see Tomahawk Henderson returning kicks or something like that. I would like to see that. I don't know if he'll get a lot of time. I don't know what that situation is like, but yeah, man, I would like to see. Let's see. Runners Hype said it's Rab same made hype vids because I could never find any. Really? Let's get together, guys. All three of us. We need to figure something. Yeah, it's Rab. I'm gonna find a. I don't know why people can't DM my account. It's annoying. Like everybody tells me this every time, and I'm like, I think it's because my account is verified or whatever you call it. If you don't mind, shoot me a tweet when you get a chance. And then I'll reach out to you because I have to DM people first. So like, yeah, let's just let's figure it out. Marcus says we talk about camp. Wait, we got another member. Angela says, yeah, I was just asking. Yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious as well. I'm gonna go check it out, and I'll probably get back to you on Twitter or something, or next week, so I can see because I didn't necessarily notice anything, but like I said, I wasn't watching, so I'll go watch it and then get back to you. Marcus says we talk about Campos and UTSA a lot. What about the mayor bringing them big corporation HQs to San Antonio? Those corporate box suite blowouts are a great way to boost the program. But guess what? Yes, the mayor could bring that too, but the mayor has to be incentivized to do that as well. The mayor has to know to reach out and that thing. We got to have a great relationship with the mayor to do that, right? Like, so yeah, I think that's. I listen. I know there is a relationship with the mayor. I'm not saying that we don't have that. I know that there are several folks around the program that have a really good relationship with him, but I don't know. We'll see. I got you with the mean vids though now. Nathan says, shout out to Nathan. He says, in desperate need of some UTSA hype videos. Been starving for those. Well, guess what? RowdyRunner's hype. It's Rab. There seems like there's some demand for what you guys are doing. There's some demand for what you guys are doing. Before we wrap, I do want to give a special shout out to a couple of my members. Because guess what? Those members are the legend members. So they're the special ones. And the not legend members, I'm sorry, they're the sponsors of the community members. Always going to give them special shouts out. So that shout out to 210 Danny. That shout out to RowdyRunner. Oh, I'm sorry, RowdyRunner. That shout out to Desert Dweller Sports. My guys at Desert Dweller Sports. Shout out to them as well. You can check out their almanac at ddsn.us. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's see if we got any last comments before we rock. No, we're done. We're good to go. We're wrapped up. Next week, same time, I will see you guys there. And yeah, make sure you guys smash a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. See y'all next week. Peace.